But that's not the vast majority of Americans. The truth is, some of these comments, when you actually ask, well, this is based on what? This notion that Obama's a socialist, for example. Nobody can really give you a good answer.
Okay, I think we just gave you, I mean, I've got another 35 minutes in me. I could go. I mean, I think we answered it with the, how did you not become anything but a Marxist with your childhood? We showed you the political foundation, but now what has he built on top of that since? Is he building a home like Leave It to Beaver? Is he, I mean, this is what we all grew up in, man. Leave It to Beaver home. I know we didn't all actually grow up in a home like that. Some of us are worse off and some of us, I get it. But this is the American thing. That's the foundation of the American dream. Is he building this, or is the foundation that he has for himself and what he's building on more suited to building a structure like this? This isn't what I was looking for. I was actually looking for those big Russian apartment buildings that they all used to live in the Soviet Union. I think this is actually from the Soviet Union, but they used to live those big, huge, well, LBJ, the Great Society. We have them all over here in New York. The Leave It to Beaver house was built by individuals who go to work every day, work hard, pay their taxes, and live the dream. Some of them lose this house, some of them buy a bigger house. Some of them live in those forever, but they're not penalized for their success. But the kinds of homes that were occupied by a society who had a foundation in redistribution of wealth and forced governmental charity, hiding behind the term of social justice, well, that's a different house. Our manufacturing czar, Ron Bloom, said that power comes generally from the barrel of a gun. Would you, as the president, as a capitalist, hire somebody as the manufacturing czar that would say that? He just said too much. See, Barack Obama, I think, is very, very good at what he does because he knows how to sell it. Marxism always starts with a happy face, striving just to do good for others. That's all it is. It's not taking your money away. I'm just trying to help people. He best said it when he spoke to Joe the plumber on the campaign trail.
It's not that I want to punish your success. I just want to make sure that everybody who is behind you, that they've got a chance at success too. And I think when you spread the wealth around, it's good for everybody.
Marx said that. Madison never said that. Our founders all warned against that. They didn't think it was better to spread the wealth around. So we didn't ask questions there, really. And then 5 days before the election, he promised us this.
We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America.
Don't you think those two things coupled together should have had journalists going, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute? I mean, if he meant that he just intends to transform America from Madison to Marx, doesn't that matter? I mean, he's told us now he's an ardent free market believer. But I'm not sure that's what he actually meant. I mean, where's the evidence of that? But if he wasn't an ardent free market supporter, would it matter? Let's take a look at what Barack Obama has done since taking office that would raise any suspicion. Again, the mainstream media can't come up with a single thing. What have we uncovered? When Harry Smith offered one potential thing that Americans could possibly point out that might be construed as socialism, Obama quickly squashed that nonsense by pointing out that a Republican proposed a similar plan. Here he is.
They would say mandating that people have to buy insurance or something like that.
Yeah, the sort of plan proposed by current Republican nominee Mitt Romney. Yeah. So it doesn't make too much sense.
Which is why I said when Mitt Romney was running for president, I don't want anyone who even flirts with socialism. His defense for an obvious socialist act is, well, Mitt Romney, he's a Republican and he did it too. I mean, did anybody else's mom, I remember mine probably in like 1969 saying, you know, things like, if Mitt Romney would jump off a cliff, would you jump off too? Which wouldn't have made any sense in 1969 because I wouldn't have known who Mitt Romney was, but you get the point. It seems to me that you can't disprove your socialism with someone else's socialism, can you? When confronted with spending and socialist bailouts, Obama does the same thing, crushes the silly notion with his famous retort that George Bush started it. I don't care who started it. He's reminded us over and over again that President Bush was in office when TARP bailout happened. Well, we were all against that. Never mind the fact that he voted for the TARP bailout. He himself, Barack Obama, voted for it. But that's beside the point. We have to have real discussions, not political discussions. We'll continue ours in a minute. Tonight we're taking on Barack Obama's impossible challenge to find some evidence of socialism in his policies. Apart from his childhood, teenage years, and adult childhood spent with radicals, Marxist and communists, and then attending a Marxist church for 20 years with a Marxist pastor, what has he done lately? Well, there is the tiny matter of him taking over the auto industry. No big deal. GM has just been taken over, 61%. That's. And then, of course, the nagging little detail of that the government now controls much of America's banking industry. We have that. And then, of course, there's AIG Insurance, the insurance giant that we also took those over. Those are fantastic. And, yes, he has taken the first step towards socialization, total government control of our health care system. I had an appointment with my doctor today, and he was thrilled about that. And, you know, controlling the entire healthcare industry. It's only 1/6. Don't worry about that. Oh, he's also seized control of the entire student loan industry. Just wipe that industry out. Far from celebrating capitalists and capitalism, he has repeatedly demonized the wealthy, dating back to his early days of his campaign. Here's how Obama responded when he was asked about raising the capital gains tax at the expense of the economy. Watch.
What I've said is that I would look at raising the capital gains tax for purposes of fairness. We saw an article today which showed that the top 50 hedge fund managers made $29 billion last year. $29 billion for 50 individuals. And part of what has happened is that those who are able to work the stock market and amass huge fortunes on capital gains are paying a lower tax rate than their secretaries. That's not fair.
Okay. I just want you to understand, this is a question about, wait a minute, if you take and you raise capital gains tax, what that's going to do is that's going to hurt the economy. It's shown it over and over and over again. That was the question. For 50 people, he will punish the entire economy. Now, one of those evil hedge fund managers, huge progressive and fundraiser and Obama supporter, this guy, George Soros. His fund made $3.3 billion last year. You know, as you're struggling, $3.3 billion. Now, if it's true that a billionaire pays lower percentage than his 50 grand a year secretary on his income, I demand to know his accountant's phone number. No, please. But to the larger point here, how is it fair to knowingly reduce the nation's revenues, hurt everybody, and hurt the revenues into the IRS? Doesn't that hurt the country as a whole? I mean, again, the ideology of an ardent free market believer, but more importantly, this is why it matters. Socialists or not, theories of Marx do not work. They do not build countries. They do not create jobs. They destroy. They destroy wealth. They destroy countries. And in most cases, in the end, they wind up killing thousands, if not millions of people because, what was it our cars are said, or our manufacturing are? He kind of agrees with Mao that power comes from the end of a gun. This is why it matters. I don't care if it's a Republican or a Democrat or George Bush started it or Jimmy Carter started it. It doesn't matter. What matters is the madness ends before our country ends. Now that we've discussed his radical Marxist communist parents, his communist mentor, where's his communist mentor? His Marxist professors, his Marxist pastor, along with the takeover of the auto industry, the banking industry, the healthcare system, insurance, student loans. Now we've, no doubt, come to the end of the case for why Barack Obama might be considered a socialist. Right? No. We've introduced you on this program to his new spiritual advisor. You got to love this guy. New spiritual advisor is Jim Wallis. Jim Wallis, who, like his last spiritual advisor, Jeremiah Wright, is a Marxist. Now, he's not going to call himself a Marxist anymore. No, no, no. He's very, very clever. He's advising the President of the United States, but listen to his words.
Are you then calling for the redistribution of wealth in society?
Absolutely, without any hesitation. That's what the gospel is all about.
He goes on to talk about the forced redistribution of wealth, because when you just give, it's just not enough. The left will continue to claim that all I'm doing is spewing